started.
Mr. Trumbull Mesa,
Here.
Mr. Malloy,
Here.
Ms. Frenchco.
Okay, this is our workshop for the regular meeting January 4th, in preparation of January 4th meeting. As we voted on yesterday, our workshops will now be at 10:30 instead of 10, so please make a note on all your schedules, and this is standardize things a little better, but most of all, Commissioner Candela Mesa and myself have a planning commission meeting, one Tuesday, of every month, and it's at 9, and we're always rushing Julie to get out of there, and I don't wanna do that to her anymore in the planning board, so, we'll start at 10:30 to standardize things. Hopefully, we can always finish up by lunch, so when you're out and about, you guys can catch lunch on the way back and make it one swoop and not have to take too much more time out of your day. Okay, start with, the agenda items. Number 1, dispense with the reading of the minutes. 2, approve the bills. 3, concur with Trumbull County Engineer to grant right-of-way permits for Dominion East Ohio Village Energy Cooperative. And then again, the permit for J&M Lumber, permit for Darrow Transportation, permit for OK Brugman. And those, of course, we, no need for discussion on those. Number 7, acknowledge the proposal for aggregate materials for 24-25 and authorize the clerk to advertise for sealed bids for the purchase of aggregate materials for use by Trumbull County Engineer in accordance with bid specs as submitted by Trumbull County Engineer for the contract period February 11th to February 10th, 2025, per the county engineer. Is there a deadline on that anywhere, Lisa, as far as when we gotta do it? It says it's for the contract, but, or is that something you just do later when you, as far as when are the bids due? Or when do we put it in and when are they due?
I believe the bids are due at the beginning of February, I believe. I don't have the packet in front of me, but they send the packet over.
Okay, so it says in the packet that it says here, as per whatever the county engineer put in the packet is what we go by.
Yes,
Okay, and I can check that after the meeting to see the dates on that.
yes.
Okay. Number 8, approve the annual time and place for Trumbull County Engineers Annual Dinner. Of all the townships and county authorities having directly to do with construction, repair roads and bridges in the county. At such a meeting, which shall be open to the public, the engineer's designation shall instruct the proper authorities as to the best and most economical method for repairing and maintaining roads and bridges for the county, so as to provide a uniform system of highway work for such county. The meeting will be held at, let's see, okay, yep, there. And March 6th at 6 p.m., with costs being paid by the Highway Engineers Fund. So that is open to the general public if someone wanted to go March 6th. And I don't see an RSVP thing on here anywhere. So I guess you want further information, they can go to the engineer's office or call there for further information, talk to the, administrative secretary there. Okay, number 9, authorize the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners to pay Neo-Ride, an Ohio Council of Government, membership dues in the amount of $1,000 for calendar year 2024. All right, that doesn't make sense a little bit here, Lisa. After Neo-Ride, it's a period, then N Ohio Council of Government. You know what that error would be, or that
No,
looks like a clerical?
Mr. Salamone, would that be you?
Could be.
How is that supposed to be worded?
No, right, just get rid of the period, if possible.
What's
Put a
an
comma.
Ohio
It's a
Council of
comma.
Government, what's that mean?
I agree.
That's how it was last year,
The cause.
No, but I mean, there's a period, then it says an Ohio Council of Government.
yeah,
There should be a
Comma.
comma.
And then membership is not capitalized, not that, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think we probably need a comma after Neo-Ride and a period after government. Or just
Yeah.
comment membership, or just, you're right, just.
Ohio Revised Code 167.01. It's a regional council of government. Is that the same thing, Mike? doesn't matter.
And then is it $1,000, Mike, or like, there's a
It's
period?
it's $1,000.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah.
just need a comment there.
Mike, we are sentencing you to 3 days at Harding Junior High.
It's okay.
Remedial English
That's what
class.
we're here for.
Diagram these steps.
Yeah.
When the principal signs off, you can come back and attend the meetings again with us.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Have a diet.
Listen, at least we're not getting our red pens out, okay?
Yeah.
It could be worse, it could be worse.
Right, we could put it up on the projector for the whole class to see and laugh.
Well, I have fast fingers when I
Right.
type.
Anyway,
Okay.
clean that up.
Okay, I'll clean it up.
Clean it.
Also, if I can say, I need to add, Mr. Salamoni's travel expenses onto this as well. It
Okay.
should have been with the rest of them
That's fine.
for the reorg, but a little oversight, a little minor oversight
Yep.
on
We can do that.
So be it.
so.
Mike, you wanna talk about NeoRide and how they're helpful a little bit?
Yeah, explain that, what that is a little bit.
Okay, so NeoRide is a system that's, actually in Wadsworth, Ohio, which is in Medina County. It started back in 2014, it's just a couple of transit systems that were in that area. They've expanded to, I don't know, 20 systems, including systems outside of, Ohio. What NeoRide is it's a group that helps write grants for multiple areas. So the one grant that we're looking at right now is for a one-stop shop, where the, dispatch center would be one call for everybody, just to make a phone call. They would call that number if they are looking for a ride for this area, instead of having to call 4 different providers at this point. So that's what it's for. Another thing that they're working on that I just received was, they're working on a grant, that will possibly be part of that, will help collect operating data. So right now, we're doing operating data by hand. This will make it a little bit easier to collect the operating data and other data for the service. So that's basically what NeoRide is. So, once I know when the system for the Easy Connect will be working, I will be coming back to this group, with an MOU with NeoRide.
That would be phenomenal. As you know, one of the, the Commissioner may not know, may know. One of the issues we've had with transportation is a central dispatching office. I mean, we have great, providers and contractors, but, and the competition has brought the pricing down, but we don't have that central dispatching office. It's that central hub. So, if they can work with us on that, and if there's funding available, that would help the transportation system immensely, right, Mike?
Right, and there's definitely funding available for this. There's, grants will be covering the majority, it's an 80-20, these grants are covering it, so, I don't know if we'll owe anything. Last time I talked to, her name's Catherine, she said the largest systems are gonna cover the 80-20, so we may not owe anything
Nice.
when this comes in.
Even be better.
Yeah. Yeah, so at least just clean the grammar up, and,
Okay.
on the end too, it says, Mike Salamone, Transit Administrator, will be their representative. That might mean to read our representative. I can't even read that again, it hurts my eyes to read. That's my pet peeve, sorry, but,
Okay.
it's Michigan English. All right, number 10.
All right.
To authorize the transfer of Mr. Michael Del Bono, Deputy Dog Warden, the Dog Kennel, current pay range 4, to the position of groundskeeper, the Building Maintenance Department, pay range 4. It's in response to an authorized job posting from November 13th to the 21st. 4 union bids were received, so policy was followed for him to be hired, I guess.
Yes, Commissioners, we had 4 applicants.
Alex Stephen Jenzy Bush,
Sorry,
Human Resources.
that's me.
Okay.
So we had 4 applicants, so of course this is an internal bid process, so it's union to union, union job, we followed the CBA. Because we had 4 applicants, we actually chose to follow the section where we actually did testing as well as interviews. So all applicants were asked the same 10 questions, they were all ranked based off the same 10 questions, and then we had our building and vehicles supervisor, he's somewhere, actually take them out and have, them get in the truck, move the truck, hook a trailer up to the truck, back it in, back it out, do things that they would be doing every single day. And believe it or not, that was the delineating factor on who got the job, so,
Reminds me of the Brady Bunch when
yeah.
Greg and Marcia were driving
yeah.
the station wagon with the egg
Yeah.
on the construction code.
So I can definitely say
That would've been fun to watch.
That's
Yeah,
random.
I did not watch that, I just did I just did the interview for you.
Anybody under 40 listening has no idea what I just talked about, but everyone in here knows exactly what I'm talking about. We all watched that episode.
And many more.
But this will we, of course, avoid at our dog pound, so that's something that we will definitely need to address ASAP, because he was our, deputy dog warden, so as soon as he transitions to this position effective January 8th, we will be looking to post the dog warden position.
Okay.
And Michelle was well aware throughout the entire thing. I kept everybody abreast of what was going on, so she knew that he bid, she knew that he wanted this job, so we're preparing on the back end.
Good. Okay, number 11, accept the resignation of Tanner Palm, telecommunicator in the Trumbull County 911 Department effective December 26, 2023. Action per recommendation of Stacy Bowen.
Stacy Bond, 911 Director, Trumbull County. Tanner was one of our probationary employees. He was about, I think, 10 weeks in, 12 weeks in. Decided the job was not for him. As we know, this job is not something everybody can do. He was having some sleep disturbances from some of the calls he was handling and things like that. So, I have the utmost respect for him to decide to pull the plug before he got too far in, wasting his time and our time and resources, and realizing that, it's not something he wanted to pursue. It is one of those jobs, unfortunately, we can have 10 applicants, and of 10, you'll think somebody's gonna be amazing, and you'll think somebody else might not cut it, and it'll be the complete opposite of what you think is gonna happen. You don't really know if somebody can do the job till they get in it and do it and see how those things affect them. Some people can compartmentalize the things we see and hear, and others can't, so nothing but respect for him. He's actually gonna be getting back into the ministry, which is something I think he's gonna be really good at, and he thinks his time spent with us is gonna serve him well, helping others, because he can relate and be more empathetic from handling some of the 911 calls he handles, so.
Okay, and with the next item, very similar situation,
Yes, this one was a termination, instead. Alexander Beisel, she was going through training, had, multiple check-ins with her to see how things were progressing, and just wasn't picking it up, as well as the other candidates were. Didn't seem to have that sense of urgency that's needed in the job that we're doing, so we decided to not proceed with her. And if it's possible, if it's okay with you, could we skip to my other item, just because I have another
Sure.
meeting I have to go to, sorry. Number 24, you wanna read that, Commissioner?
yes,
Thank you for letting me jump that in there together.
All right, number 24, concur with Trumbull County 911 Director, 911 Assistant Director, and select Phillips Mechanic Architects in consultation with Trumbull Architects and Federal Engineering as the most qualified firm to provide professional services for the purposes of conducting feasibility studies for up to 3 properties, and determine which property would be most suitable for a new 911 dispatch center, and to authorize the commencement of finalizing the project scope and price proposal negotiation process with representatives from the Trumbull County 911 Dispatch Center and Phillips Mechanic Architects in consultation with Strollo Architects and Federal Engineering.
So, as you know, our RFQ went out. We had 3 bids that came in on time, 1 that did not come in on time due to an issue with the shipper. We looked through those proposals, or those, qualifications, graded those, and Phillips Mechanics, came up as the top candidate, out of those 3, due to their local knowledge, their availability of staff. They already have, previous studies done on 2 of the buildings that we're looking at, so that gave them a little bit of a leg up, because that might save us some money in the long run. And now we're looking to meet with them to discuss what the cost of that project would be moving forward. Their consultants also, one of their consultants is Rob Jackson, who's the former director of the state 911 program office. So having a consultant in your group that already has some relative experience with Ohio and their 911 rules and regulations, I think it's gonna only benefit us moving forward.
All right, 2 things on this. why do we have to have the wording consultation with you and the assistant director? We've never done that with any other department where we talk to, like, John Gargano and his assistant, or someone else and their assistant. Is that something that's your call, or is that something that,
Oh, no, I just, being my first rodeo, with doing these, I didn't know how you guys like them, or it's not like we have a template saying this is how you do everything. And knowing that Patty and I are gonna obviously be involved in all conversations, she's, you know, my assistant, so she will be involved, just because if I'm not there, she can answer questions, but, that was the only reason why I
this
had
is
it
the first
worded
time
that
in a
way.
year that I've seen that, where we had both of them listed.
No, if there's a template on how things like to proceed, I'm not aware of them. I ran it by Bill, at the prosecutor's office, just to make sure the language was acceptable to him, and he said it was fine, so,
Now, yesterday I got contacted, Bill Hart from Tyler Williams, Sterling Williams' son. He's, they own the funeral homes in town. They have a building on North Park. He called and said, hey, I get a building I'd love for you guys to see. It's an old funeral home that is a big open floor plan, because they have 2 funeral parlors in it. He's like, we would love to, be considered for your 911 center. He saw some of the paper somewhere, and he asked if we had an interest in it. I told him that I would ask you today, I'd bring it up publicly today, to see maybe if you can run by there just to see what it looks like. I've got the information here, it's on
The
the.
address?
Yeah, the address is,
just a second.
Yep.
Cruise by too.
maybe on your way home or something, you can cruise by and even see. I have not seen the place at all. But he said they would, they're in the process of remodeling it, and he, the first thing he thought was to make a great telecommunications center. It's 1307 North Park in Warren. And Bill will give you his phone number afterward. He said he can be available at any time. That is something, if you look at it and it looks like something, like, hey, let's look inside, or it looks like something, we have up to 3. I don't know if we wanna jump in any, this late in the game, but I think we should turn over every rock, and, I mean,
Right.
you never know. But we have this worded up to 3 properties to determine which is most suitable. Bill, if you look at it and it looks like, hey, let's look at this thing, then maybe we can modify that for tomorrow, or just
Sure.
make a change of 4 properties or something.
Nope, works for me.
Casey, on the, selection of Phillips Mechanic, we're gonna work in consult with Strollo though?
So, Phillips Mechanics, in their proposal, they're working with Strollo as the architects additionally,
Okay.
and the, federal engineering. So we listed all of them, just so there's a full picture of who's all involved in the project.
Okay. So they sort of teamed up on it?
Yes, yes.
And, okay, how many more do we have in training now? 'Cause this is not your fault, just losing 2 more is not good, and we're trying to get a net gain.
Yeah, so there's 2 in training right now. One is a rock star. The other one is progressing along nicely. As I said before, some people learn faster than others, some pick it up better than others. Some people take more time than others. So both candidates are progressing through. One is killing it, the other one is doing very well and moving along nicely. So I'm hopeful that 2 will stick, but honestly, when we hired 4, horrible as it is to say this, it was at that point, we had 4 willing candidates, 4 people with a pulse who were interested in the job and interested in working. So I said, let's throw darts on the board and hope one of them sticks. Our hope was to get 1 out of the 4 that stick. That's how volatile this type of job is right now. You can call around to any 911 center right now and find out that they are all understaffed and hiring and can't find
So
anybody.
are we in the process of
Yes,
hiring
we
more
have-
now?
We have 1 more that's going through background testing. Actually, background's completed. He just has to take his drug screen. I believe he's doing that this week. We have that one that's ready to go, so in the chute, ready to start. So as soon as that's, we can probably get him turned around in 2 weeks, once that comes around. We have a supervisor that's gonna be recommended. We didn't get it in time for this. She's taking her drug test today. I was trying to get her on today. We're hoping to get her hired. That'll be first-line supervisor, who can also fill the role of, is capable of dispatching.
But they will
when
be
needed.
full-time dispatching too, right? They're just not just gonna be walking around.
Well, by their
supervising.
contract, Alex, I think you can speak to that. Union contracts, it's a little different with that.
I mean, they can fill in, we haven't baked in there, so
Yeah, they can fill in.
obviously, 80% of the day, we don't want them doing union work, that's not necessarily how we roll. But this is a different type of, field, so we do have it baked into there that if they're short-staffed, or if they need to cover, if they need to take over, that they do need to do that, yes. correct.
Well, we can't make it mandatory that they spend 50% of the time, whatever, on a
We would have to,
terminal?
that would be taking away union work. So, I mean, if the union would sign off on that, I highly doubt it. But obviously, we're a union county, right? So union work is number one. So I'd have to enter into an MOU with the union. I highly doubt that they're gonna say, sure, take our work away from us.
Additionally,
They're not.
where we're really needing is that first line supervision on the floor with the staff, so that's where the supervisor position, she's gonna be a great asset.
But don't get it confused with the fact that it is the expectation that she is supposed to jump on calls.
Right, rather than force an
So,
employee,
correct.
they
So
will
if
be
they're
on the
short-staffed,
floor
if
instead of
somebody calls
forcing
off,
employees.
what we're saying is, if something outside of the norm happens, so you were staffed to have 6 employees on the floor, 2 call off, guess what? Supervisor jumps in and is gonna have to field those calls. That's how life works. But we don't want it to become a norm where they have a seat on the dispatching floor every single day, and they're dispatching 24/7 versus actually supervising,
Right.
you know, the work of the floor too.
Because they're the ones that are covering breaks, jumping in when things
Right.
get chaotic, when you have a massive
Yeah,
event.
that is.
you know.
I'm just more concerned with people being forced every day and getting rid of those forces, so that never happens
Well,
again.
the
Well,
We
that is
don't
why-
force employees
The
to be
issue with
there.
the forces that we have is, I hate the term force, because they're not really forces. They're voluntary overtime positions that are open. And the reason they're voluntary overtime positions that are open is because we are so critically understaffed.
Right,
we
but if
could
they
have-
don't wanna do it, can they leave and go home with
There's
no penalty?
voluntary forces and there's mandatory forces.
Right,
I would say 80% of our forces are voluntary.
but that means 20% are mandatory.
That's
People are still
accurate.
getting forced to be there.
Accurate, but we're also at 20 dispatchers when we need 35. So,
Right,
you know, that's where the issue comes in.
right.
And when you see, you know, I'm sure his overtime report that he's gonna be putting out, when you see some of the money these dispatchers are making, it's biting the hand that feeds you. You have people who come to complain to you guys about the forces. I don't wanna work with these forces, but if we get people in the seats, they don't wanna help those trainees along either because they're taking their overtime money. So they can't have their cake and eat it
I
too.
understand.
I hate to be
My
blunt about
big
it, but
concern
that's
with this,
exactly
though,
what's
is
happening.
We're paying supervisors to come in now, they're gonna be making at least $10 an hour more than anybody on the floor that they're working with, even people who've been there for years and years. And they're gonna have to be expected to work as much
Oh,
as the people on the floor.
100%, they're also gonna be responsible for a lot more of the
Right,
headaches
yeah.
of the deal, of
Right.
the job. Additionally, all of the posting that we posted, no internal candidates applied for the supervisor position,
Right.
because they don't wanna change their shift, they don't wanna change various things about, they like being on their night shift, and if you're a supervisor, you're gonna get bounced around and be covered where we need you.
Well, I think it's important to note too, Casey, not to interrupt, but, Human Resources Director Alex Stephen Bush, just so I do that. We not only posted it, we were so unhappy with the fact that nobody bid internally, we actually posted it a second time, just within the 911 department internally, for an additional 10 days, 10 or 15, I can't remember what we did.
10, yeah.
Because that was our goal, was to get somebody to
Did
elevate
did
them.
you do any interviews or exit interviews or anything with
I
them
did.
on why they didn't wanna apply?
You mean for the supervisor?
Yeah.
No, because nobody expressed any interest, so how would I even know where to start?
Right.
Several that I had just passing conversations with was, well, I don't wanna get moved around, I don't wanna get called in when I don't wanna be working, I don't wanna get I like my night shift, you know, those are the things. And right now, honestly, we need supervision probably from 11A to 7P and 7P to 3A, like staggered shift is what we're looking at. We're possibly even looking at doing 12-hour shifts with the supervisors to kinda cover those busier shifts.
Now, I did speak with Jeff Perry, who is the OPBA representative for 911 specifically. His thought process, and I'm gonna say that I would never advocate for this, so let me just preface with that, but I'm gonna be fully transparent. His thought process is, I guarantee people would apply for that job if you kept them in the union.
Right.
Well, unfortunately, our county does not operate, well, some do, and it doesn't work well, and I'm just gonna be honest with you. And he knows that, we've had these conversations. Supervisory jobs need to be non-union. We need to be able to have people who can be held accountable. You know, if you're in the union and you're a supervisor, are you really gonna hold that person accountable, or are you gonna be their union buddy? You know, I'm just being honest. So it creates a conflict of interest, and it's huge, and I've seen it be detrimental to businesses, organizations, and I just don't think that's the way that we wanna go. The whole point of getting supervision is to have that level of delineation. We need these people to be held accountable, period. But that also means that these supervisors have to be accountable, right? So they have to be accountable to know, get your butt on the floor when it's time to be on the floor. Pick up that phone, get your hands dirty, let's go.
A lot of the issues too that we're looking at and what we would love to move towards as far as a model moving forward, we would love to see these, individuals who might not make it as a full-on dispatcher to potentially be a call taker. But that opens a whole nother realm of negotiations with unions.
Right.
Would they be non-union, what would the pay scale be? But there are people who have gone through the training process in the past, and some of our current ones, who might not be a good dispatcher as far as once they get to the radio, it's too much for them. They would be great as a call taker, and that would help us with our numbers. Because if you have 5 people there and a call taker, it's better than just having 5 people there that are dispatchers.
Right.
The issue is that opens a whole new ball of wax with HR. We have to figure out, and with the union, of how we can proceed. And right now, honestly, our staffing's too low to make that happen. Additionally, it brings up, you know, overtime. How do they get called in for overtime? Are there overtime shifts for just call takers? You know, they can't cover breaks. How does that work? So that opens a whole nother ball of issues there as
Well, and
well.
that's all part of Fair Labor Standards Act, and
Right.
supervisory people should not be getting overtime and vice versa. That's why we don't want people being in supervisor positions getting overtime, because that would be a union, you know, supervisors should be exempt from overtime. They should be getting comp time or whatever the fact may be, flex time, but we don't wanna start opening up those, you know, we don't wanna do that.
So we are always actively looking for applicants. We had another female call the other day. She's gonna be turning in an application here in the next couple days. She's got previous dispatch history and, experience, so we're hoping to get, you know, 2 more to replace those 2 in the chute and get them going. Doing the best with what we got right now.
Once we have a whole lot more people, it'll make it a lot easier for everybody.
Oh, if we could get up to
Realize it.
25 by June, our lives would be a lot easier for everybody.
But this is not an uncommon problem, and this is a problem that's plagued Trumbull County the entire time I've been here. We've always been around 20, 18 to 23. We can't seem to retain, attract and retain, the type of people, because it is a vocational work almost. I mean, that's hard to say, but it's a calling. You gotta really wanna do this, and you gotta cut out for it.
There's a reason firemen work 24 on, 48 off. They need that space to get away. They need to clear their head. They need to do
Right.
that. My big fear is when someone's working 60 hours a week, 50 hours a week, no break, no time, we're burning people out, we're killing people, basically.
Yeah.
We're shortening their lives, their mental,
But on the other
mental
hand,
health
we
and
can't get enough,
everything.
we can't get enough people in there to alleviate that.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's like,
And then,
double-edged sword.
and then on the flip side of that, you have, if you look at our starting pay scale, I can go work at Target for $17 an hour and not
Right.
deal with any amount of the chaos that I have at
And
911.
we've done some
You know,
things to address that, but we
100%.
need to do it in the future.
100%. I'm not pointing blame, I'm just saying those are contributing factors across the United States of
And
what.
that's where we need to find a run
Yeah.
down the road, that the employees, you know, when we first started this, putting supervisors in, was to give them motivation where they can actually move up within the system. They can move from a supervisor to maybe a team leader to or a dispatcher to a team leader to a supervisor to an assistant supervisor and maybe director someday. And show a path for people that wanna make a career out of it. And if we got a roadblock there in the middle between the union and leaving the union and leaving all the protection, leaving all the safety, or, you know, it must be deep water for them to be worried about jumping in deep water and the unknown of what's gonna happen for them not to wanna move up. If for $10 an hour more, and they would rather keep the safety of the union protection, we've gotta figure that out somewhere, or else we're doing something wrong if we don't keep that ladder going up.
I think, the unfortunate thing, I think, with that, and I know this is probably gonna be unpopular, but I have a tendency to say the unpopular things when everybody's thinking, is unions are great, but a lot of times what they do is they protect people who need to go, unfortunately. And my thing is, if you're moving to a supervisor, do your job, and I will have no problem backing you, and you will stay there. Don't do your job, then you need to go.
I think, in their defense,
it's
I don't think
unpopular.
it's that. I think they're more worried about our management. They're not worried about their performance. They're worried about, we've had so many changes the last 5, 6, 7 years. Someone comes, someone goes, this one's being accused of political hire, this one's this is that. And I think once they hit that level, it's like, the only smooth sailing they have is stay low, stay under the light, stay out of the limelight, don't worry about the stuff up top, because that seems to get, in the past, has been somewhat political with that. And I think that scares people a little too, of change could happen at any time, and they wanna be that person in the hot seat when change occurs or happens. So it's just the nature of the beast. It has
Oh, yeah,
nothing to do with
100,
that,
I
the
agree.
nature of the beast.
Time will cure that.
I was gonna say, change takes a lot of time. Culture changes take even longer of a time. With that being said, one thing, and this is not against anybody, but without having a real, you know, administrative staff at 911 for the past so many years, what you see is lack of training. What you see is, and we just talked about this yesterday in the workshop, you know, I don't mean to be, facetious here when I say this, but we have commissioners who are questioning how many people are going to training. What you just said is why it's so important and vital to have administration in 911, Casey, to get the right people, to get supervision, to send them to training so they feel empowered and learn their job and know their job.
Right.
That is what we're missing there. That's a culture change. That's gonna take time, and people are gonna have to buy in. And if they aren't gonna buy in, buy your way out. I don't know
And
what
they
to
don't
say,
have the
you
liberty
know?
now, even with their time schedule, even
To do
for
that,
training, to
correct.
come in, because they gotta work their shift.
That's right.
So, we'll get there, Casey's the right
We will.
person for it, but just, you know, we support you in what you're doing, but just know, there's a lot of eyes on this, that we need to, you know, we need to make sure we're making progress all the time, and losing a couple others, that happens, you know, but if we can do anything as a board, you know, if you need to hire 8, or you need to hire 10, or we need to do something where you can train them off-site, or do something, we need to get people in, we need to train them, we need to get hands-on, and it's gonna be a lot of work for everybody to get to that point, but this slow growth of, we hire 4, we lose 3, we hire 5, we lose 2, if you want 25 by June, or whatever, we gotta make it happen, you know, we gotta find
I'd
them.
love to see that happen.
We gotta figure out what we need to do, what we need to change somehow, because to even think we're gonna be able to maintain what we're doing, and then move in the middle of that, and still be able to cover shifts and provide the service we need to provide during a major move. A move is a big deal, and we're not like the health department, we can just shut down for a week, and it's moving week, and then we reopen next week, and we're good to go.
Right,
This is,
simultaneous.
you know, we gotta keep answering the calls, we gotta keep doing the job, it's gotta continue, and to do that, it's gonna require a buy-in by all the employees there too, that they're doing their part, they're gonna make the transition smooth, that it's gonna work for everybody, and they're gonna be a part of making it better.
With that being said, at some point in the very near future, I assume we're gonna need some type of preliminary idea of what we're looking at budget-wise, to know, once we get into those details of what we're looking at. I mean, obviously, we can't have champagne taste on a beer budget,
Right.
so, you know, a relevant idea of what we're looking at would be helpful, just so we know when we do start talking with these planners on what we're looking at.
And that's the part that's gonna sting, that's the part that's gonna suck, that's, we're gonna rely on Martha, and we're gonna rely on, Mauro and myself, and we gotta do it right. We can't just mail it in, we're not gonna do a
Right.
discount rate move or
You need
discount
to
rate
realize
transfer.
it's a 50-year commitment,
This
at
is a
least.
long-term commitment
Right.
for the better of the whole department. We can't keep coming back year after year after year for the last 10, 15, 20 years. If you talk to firemen who've been in the business their whole life, or police officers, 911's always been a sticking point in one way, shape, or form. We need to rebuild it right this time, no matter what the cost is.
With that being said, just my last thing I'll say in closing is, we did handle 92,265 911 calls this year, and 243,630 non-emergency calls, which is just insane.
That's
So I'm
totally insane.
gonna be working with Tim, we're gonna try to find a way to do a call attendant or something to help divert some of those.
You're talking 20 employees, divide 293,000 by 20. And,
So hard.
I'm on the phone a lot,
I couldn't
and
do it.
I don't talk that much in a day.
No.
But with that being said, and with our staffing levels the way we were, we did not cut any type of services, we still provided the, you know, the same amount of service. We didn't, you know, shuck calls that, you know, some agencies will say, we're not responding to this, we're not doing that. Still responded to the same amount of agencies, so the fact that, you know, we were able to do that with those level numbers, you know, says a lot to the staff.
And all that needs to also stand out to all the departments. They're gonna bitch and moan that we're gonna raise rates a little bit here, we're gonna, you know, the cost of 911 service is gonna go up a couple $100 a month or whatever it is. They don't realize what the staff is doing there just to keep this going. And if they want the service, they want the Gold Star service, people gotta pay for Gold Star service.
Well, they also don't realize, you know, 6 court systems, over 7,000 warrants, you know, every day we're doing CCH requests, you know, driver's license requests. That's where the courts could come in and help. They have staff who are CCH and LEADS approved who could do that for us. They don't need to call us, but asking them to do that, you know, nobody wants to do that. You know, if the courts would have their own staff do that kind of stuff, we wouldn't have to. It would take the burden off of our agency. Getting a call attendant, you know, to where people can listen and say, oh, I need sanitation, I'm gonna push 5 for sanitation, whatever. You know, those are things that would alleviate the load that's on the dispatchers as well. So there are things out there, we just gotta work through them.
Didn't mean to put you on the hot seat with all this, but it needed to be discussed.
Bring it on, let's
publicly,
go.
so. That's right, I figured
That's all right. I like being on the hot seat.
you could handle it.
Once a month. Once a month, that's it. Thank you for letting me kind of skip ahead. I'm gonna head out to my other meeting.
It's a non-issue.
Okay, we will go back then to number 13. Authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to execute any and all required documents related to the grant application process, receipt and return of related documents, execution of grant documents, implementation of activities and expenditures of funds related to the administration of all ongoing or open grant programs carried over from previous years.
Julie Green, Director, Trumbull County Planning Commission. This is the list of ongoing or open grants that are under our office, being administered through our office as a team of 6, in spite of the other comments that I don't do anything, which is a joke. And I did not get to attend the meeting yesterday, but I also would like to know why on earth you would possibly have any reason to vote no against naming Nick Huggins as the Economic Development Representative for Trumbull County after the year that we just had. I would really like to know a legitimate response for that, other than I don't like him, or me, which that's obvious and really don't care, but.
Now, we all saw the latest news last week, which the media only touched on a little bit of it, just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
With this project, with this Kimberly-Clark project, from those of us somewhat in the know of what's going, this is bigger than any of us in this room could even imagine. This isn't just,
They're
oh, a
doing
company's
Valorant.
moving here. The company just landed here, and by the time they unload the ship of everything that's on it, it's gonna be a major, major economic impact to the county. And there'll be more coming from Port Authority, more coming from Chamber of Commerce, but this isn't dozens of jobs, this isn't even hundreds of jobs, this will ultimately be thousands of jobs, good-paying jobs that average some of them $36 an hour coming to our area here. I mean, we are gonna be a major player in what they do, and it's because of the hard work behind the scenes of people like Nick and the Planning Commission, and working with Howland Township on this, and working with the engineer, and working with all the economic teams out there,
Right.
Eastgate, Port Authority,
Exactly.
Chamber. I mean, just the work with that, with what we pay them for dues and what we contribute with that, they've already paid us back tenfold for the next 10 years with making this deal happen. You know, this deal, you know, I heard the other day, and this isn't talking out of school, I don't believe, but it said in the paper, we're getting $9 million from this company for the land, but we put $6 million into it,
Right.
and cleaning it up, buying oil and gas well leases to make it presentable for this company. So Port Authority's not getting rich on this deal. The Port Authority
Right.
took a chance with the economic advisors that this will pay off, and their $6 million gamble is gonna bring us a $1 billion company.
Right.
So, this is no joke. This company does business in 114 companies, or 114 countries. It's a Fortune 200 company, and just the machines they're bringing in here are worth $500 million apiece. This is
Yeah.
big stuff.
Yeah.
Potentially, be one of the largest employers in the county if everything comes together correctly.
Yeah,
So-
and again, not to give credence to the person who made the motion or didn't vote yes, but to let the public know what is going on. You know, our office does a lot of these projects in a year. That's the biggest one. But Nick also worked on the clean energy project, he's gearing up to do the tax incentive review council, and that's one element of his job. He also runs the CHIP and the home program, he has years of experience as a contractor, worked for the Port Authority, has worked single-handedly with the Planning Commission before merging our offices.
Enterprise zone.
Enterprise zone manager, I mean, it goes on and on and on. I wish I had time to go into the details. Go ahead.
Martha, you're a Trumbull County auditor, you mentioned the Turk.
Right.
That wasn't being done until Nick came in.
No. again, Nick does a fantastic job, yeah.
You know, Bud and I were discussing it, because Bud's my representative, and I had
Right.
to appoint him. And we were discussing that, and he goes, it didn't exist until Nick came. He told me that. And then it wasn't like, you know, we're just trying to be, you know, Nick fan club, but
Right.
it's like, he said it in passing.
Yeah.
This is one of those things that just wasn't ever done.
Right.
And
Well,
it
Julie,
needed to
and,
be.
and tell Nick too, don't take any offense to yesterday's meeting, because the majority of the board supported you 100%.
Oh, I
And it
know.
was, when I heard it too, it was like
I know, but there are,
just another thing to just write off and move on to the next agenda item.
I
and know
agree, but
Yeah,
at the
but
same
there's a lot
time,
of- there's a lot of those
people
things.
listening
That's
out
true.
there.
There's a lot of
that
those
don't
things, and they
understand.
start to stick after a while, and especially if they're not, you know, ferreted out by the press or by us.
Mhm.
And Nick has done a phenomenal job. I mean, I remember him when he was at the Port Authority, and we had the fortune of hiring him.
Right.
Taking over the planning commission and working with Julie.
Yeah.
I don't think between you and Nick, I don't think there's two busier people that work for the county right now, that have more going on.
Wait.
It's a shame that somebody has to be defamed and slandered in that way. I don't get it.
Like I said, that's one of the things, like water off a duck's back, just let it roll, and just another thing to throw in the pile.
Truly don't, and again, don't mean to interrupt you, commissioners, but truly, I could care less for myself, but when you attack the staff and the public hears it,
That's how we feel
it's
too.
not right for that to go unchecked or for me not to make a comment, because it's not true. And I welcome anyone to come to our office. You can come and look. I've welcomed all three commissioners to come in and search computers and files to look for whatever they think is missing or going on, or whatever is, you know, not being done correctly.
Well, not to take an unfair jab, but when you don't attend a planning commission meeting since September of 2001, you don't know,
2021.
yeah, 21, you don't know what's going on if you're not there seeing it. I see it everywhere. I go through
Yeah.
the minutes of the meeting, I see everything you, and it is a
Mhm.
full meeting when we're there, and the stuff that your staff does behind the scenes, the stuff that you present to us once a month, is a lot of work. It's kinda like four of these put into one,
And they're experts.
and they are experts at what they do, so I see it firsthand. Out of sight, out of mind,
Mhm.
you know, we see it, maybe that's why it's fresh, maybe that's why it's so raw a little bit when we hear it discredited, but,
Well,
um,
I also feel like I need to speak up every time now, because, it's not, we don't take the time to discuss what we do, even though this is an obvious agenda item. We have 7 on here out of 25. Again, 6 staff people.
right.
So it's not like we're making stuff up. This is all work that has man-hours behind it, education behind it. I have a master's degree. Everybody in my department has a degree and have decades of experience doing this sort of thing. So I appreciate that both commissioners support us, but at the same time, when it's stated in a public meeting where thousands of people can hear it, I have to say something, and I will continue to say something.
And you should, and that's something too, we were accused of these meetings just being nothing but sessions to politicize this, that, no, if someone is brought up, and I've allowed it from the chair, and I'll continue, if someone is attacked, you will get a chance to defend yourself, you know, and that's only fair.
Mhm.
You know, and I've seen it with every department head, and it's getting old, and that's why hopefully 2024, we'll be able to hold the meetings and just move on with county business and
Right,
not be mired in the drama so much.
right.
But like I said, I do appreciate, and I don't take any offense to you standing up for your department, that's what you should do as a department head.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that. Okay, number 14, authorize the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and the President, Denny Malloy, of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners to review, approve, and sign the Ohio Department of Development Security Role assignment forms and authorize signature card for various grant programs administered through the Office of Community Development.
It's an annual update.
Okay?
It's really green.
15, approve the modification, authorize signature cards for requests for payment and status of funds report, and authorize Denny Malloy, President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners, to sign the attached authorized signature card for Trumbull County and attached signature certificate, notarized, certifying the signatures of the President of the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners in 2024, and authorize the following persons to sign the attached authorized signature card for Trumbull County, Ohio, in order to sign drawdowns and status reports for CDBG funds for the county. And then the following below, Mark Anna Mesa, Nikki Frenchco, Dennis Malloy, Julie Green, Nick Coggins, and Emily Moran.
And you can modify this if you'd like, but that is typically who we would include. This is Julie Green, for the signature cards and approvals.
Okay?
Agenda item 15.
16, to approve a no-cost time extension for the contract with Boak and Sons, Inc. for the Trumbull County Planning Commission Building Roof Replacement Project awarded on September 13th. The original completion date of January 9th is being extended through June 30th per the, recommendation of the office in concurrence with Chief Building Official, Maintenance Department Supervisor, and Strollo Architects. Work will resume when weather permits. Bill?
Extend our contract through June 30th because of the weather. We're not gonna turn off the roof and it's downpour the next day or snow, so we're just prolonging and see how the weather's gonna act, and if they can get up there, they will.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was Bill Hart, Maintenance Supervisor.
Julie Green, I actually put this on, I'm the self-declared project manager of this project, as you know. So, in addition to what Bill and, Michael Slawinski, we had a meeting in November with, Strollo and Boak and Sons. The type of roof system that's being installed cannot be done in cold weather. You have to have a certain minimum temperature in order for it to be, completed and have the warranty be, accepted.
Okay.
So, and then item 17 is mine also. And 18.
All right, number 17? All right. Lost my place here.
Yeah.
All right, 17. Approve an agreement by and between the Board of Trumbull County Commissioners and Trumbull County Legal Aid Services for professional services required to implement a community development block grant fair housing services program for Trumbull County.
Julie Green, this is a, standard 2-year agreement. It's on a 2-year cycle because the state of Ohio changed that several years ago. It's a required element of the community development block grant program, and that we are also working, as you know, on the analysis of impediments to fair housing. We work closely with the city of Warren and the city of Niles so that they don't have to duplicate efforts and include them in the larger AI. We include the city of Warren, so that, they have less duplication of efforts. The city of Warren has a entitlement grant, and so we work closely with them, partner with them.
Okay. 18, authorize the donation of furniture from the offices of Trumbull County Planning Commission as submitted to Warren Township, Ohio. Furniture is being donated to Warren Township trustees as is not needed for public use by the Planning Commission, and Warren Township is in need of furniture and will pick up the furniture and deliver it to their public offices. How did we find out that Warren Township needs furniture and that you had furniture?
Julie Green, Director, Trumbull County Planning Commission. We attended a meeting with the Warren Township trustees and their zoning officials, in November, I believe, and we had a lot of topics that we discussed in addition to YARs and solar, wind and solar issues. And during that meeting, the discussion came up that they're trying to, renovate and create an office space for their new zoning official. And so, if you've ever been in our office, you see we have more chairs than are in this room, I think. And so, if the commissioners are willing, we don't need that many chairs for our office. If you're willing to donate, it's up to you. I checked with the, prosecutor's office, and they said, you know, this is the process to follow. And then we work with the auditor's office on disposal of the assets.
I don't have a problem with it, Mark. If it's legal and the prosecutor says it's legal, and I think we owe Warren Township one too, because that road incident we had this summer, they got fined $2,500 by the engineer that went in our general fund.
Right.
If we give them back some furniture in return or whatever, at least it's helping to soften that brunt there, the $2,500
Great.
fee that they paid to finish the road project. Okay, number 19, approve the proposed lease between Trumbull County Commissioners and Belmont Pines Hospital for a 6-bed psychiatric residential treatment facility for children aged 6 to 12 years of age located on the campus of Trumbull County Children's Services, and the structure known as a secure care building for Belmont Pines Hospital to perform PRTF services in accordance with the state of Ohio regulatory requirements. PRTF licensing requirements and contractual requirements of Aetna Better Health and Ohio Rise for monthly consideration of $4,848 for a total of $58,176 per year throughout the duration of the contract period commencing January 5th to January 5th, 2025. Action recommendation of Tammy Richardson, Esquire, Director of Legal and Compliance in conjunction with Tim Schaffner, Executive Director of Trumbull County Children's Services. Yes, sir. Approach if you would, get to the microphone.
Oh, okay. So this particular, building, we had a 8-bed group home in the building. Thank you.
There you go.
And, the Fed said we can't have more than 25 beds and maintain 40 eligibility, et cetera, et cetera. So just before COVID, we had to move our kids into the larger building. So we were looking for services to complement this. There is a new level of care in Ohio. We're happy to be one of the first agencies to host it, a psychiatric residential treatment facility, so kids don't get stuck in locked hospitals anymore. This is a small 6-bed for 6 to 12 years old. We ran it past the prosecutor's office in May initially, just conceptually, how to do this. Commissioner Cantalasa hooked me up with Dominic Ferrari, who helped us size the lease amount. We got final approval for the lease submitted by Belmont Pines. They are part of the largest psychiatric provider in the world. So they're, as you all know, a really good employer in our county. So we're excited to have it. We've been looking for something that complements our range of services. This is it. They won't always all be Trumbull County kids, but kids are kids, and that's what we do. So, entertain questions. Also, our board reappointments, will that be
Yes.
next week?
I just mentioned to Lisa, those will be on,
I can put them on next week.
next week.
Okay,
Next week.
thank you.
I would,
Sorry to sneak.
no, because I know we
No, we were
discussed those.
talking about
We,
it.
and we just talked about them because I
Yeah.
saw you here today and it jarred my memory, so, those will be on next week, and those are both reappointments, so.
Are they all reappointments?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
And it was advertised and everything. So any questions? I mean, we're pretty excited about it.
And this is good stuff here, and I know you guys do a lot of work that we don't know about, and a lot of stuff we do. We spend money on things that there's no better use than something like that, especially early level like that, so.
I also introduced Marilyn Pate,
Yeah,
she's my
please.
successor. February 9th is my last day, so, she's been with the agency for 38 years, right? And she was 4 years old. Unscripted here. I just wanna welcome her. She'll do a great job for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome. Tammy or Tim, has the prosecutor's office looked at the actual lease and, reviewed the language for this?
Yes, Jason Toast from the prosecutor's office took a look at it. He made some changes, we implemented those changes, and,
Can you forward that over to do you have any of that information that you can
I
forward?
have
to
his
everybody?
email and what he corrected, and.
If you can send that over to the board, that'd be
Of
great.
course, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you both, and congratulations, and we'll, I'm sure we'll be honoring you sometime in the next month or so as you head out the door.
Well deserved.
Okay, number 20, acknowledge the retirement of Ms. Debbie Santangelo from her position of Chief Accountant with Trumbull County Auditor's Office. Mrs. Santangelo retired effective December 29th with 17 years of service to Trumbull County. The Board of Commissioners joins Trumbull County Auditor and her staff in paying a fond farewell to Debbie and wish her many years of happiness, good health, and relaxation for which she is most deserving.
We're actually gonna make this a full resolution, correct?
Yes.
And we're gonna adjust the language, maybe add a few things to it for tomorrow.
Okay?
And I just wanna say, I think one of the things I may put in there is just, her aid in transitioning from, my predecessor and myself was invaluable.
That was a big fear when a new auditor came in after 20 years, but she was the link, the glue.
Yes.
But you found out,
And Christy as well.
yeah, I was
but-
gonna say, a lot of
Christy's been-
employees stepped up and
Oh,
they're-
absolutely, I have a
and,
great staff, I can't complain at all, but,
that was great, nice
but-
smooth transition.
yes,
Okay, and, will she be here for that
Yes.
resolution?
yes,
Will she really?
yes, she's planning on it, so I texted with her yesterday.
Good.
Okay, so, 21, approve the detailed drawings for the Scoville Drive Sanitary Sewer Improvements Project, known as County Project Number 5S16, and Trumbull County Combined Sanitary Sewer Districts. Had the public hearing a couple weeks ago, things went really well. 22, authorize Board of Trumbull County Commissioners clerk to advertise for statement of qualifications for all projects involving water and sanitary sewer construction and/or treatment for program year 2024. 23, acknowledge the retirement of Ms. Deborah Gagne, or Gagne, from her position as Utility Account Clerk 3 with Trumbull County Sanitary Engineers Department, effective December 29, 2023. She'll be retiring after more than 33 years of dedicated service to the citizens of Trumbull County. The Board of Commissioners joins Gary Newbrow, Trumbull County Sanitary Engineer Scott Verner, Assistant Sanitary Engineer Bob Mariano, Controller and Bill Durst, Wastewater Superintendent, Wastewater Superintendent, and staff, and thanking Debbie for years of hard work and dedication to the Sanitary Engineers Department, and congratulations to Debbie on her retirement. That's a career there, 33 years.
Real quick, Scott Varner, Assistant Sanitary Engineer. Now, Debbie was invaluable, she was a great employee, she was very dedicated. To the day she left, she was concerned about leaving a seamless transition, but, she was the type of person, I handed it to her, and I walked away, and I never looked back, because I was confident that she carried things through, but she will be very much missed, and, wish her and her family well. And also, I wanna touch on item 21, Commissioners, you allocated $350,000 of ARP funds towards that project. I will tell you that those funds made that project affordable for these residents, because we were looking at about $200 a foot.
Wow.
So, that made this happen.
No, thank you.
15 residents and a church will be benefited by this.
Yeah, I'll tell you, when we have those hearings, and you start talking about it, and you see the worried look in everybody's faces of, all right, get to the point, what's it gonna cost us? And then you throw the figure out, they get frustrated, and then you say, but wait, we got a grant, this is coming in this, and all of a sudden, it's like, whoa. You see the whole room change that way when you talk about the money coming forward, and then the assistance programs where they can go through the health department to get even more covered, it really eases the blow, and then it makes it affordable for everybody. And I wish we could do that for all citizens that way. Unfortunately, it's one neighborhood at a time, and hard work of you guys to find the grant money for it. As far as Deborah, will we have some type of resolution thing for her?
Is she coming tomorrow?
No,
Scott?
she's not, she chose not, she will not be
If
here.
you wanna get the info to me, we could still make it.
Can we write one up? Because I still think that's
Could
something
still
nice you
frame
can
it.
have to hang on the wall or
Yeah.
something after 33 years.
Yeah, no, that would be great.
I'm
Sure
sure
she would
she's
appreciate
as valuable
that.
to your department as Debbie was to her department, so we need to let them know they're appreciated.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, you could just email me something.
Okay, we'll put something together.
Info on it, yeah.
Okay. 24, we already did. 25, approve or deny the proposed vacation of a portion of an alleyway in the William A. Maitland Petroleum A Plan on lots, Trumbull County, Ohio, located in Hubbard Township. Filed by James Brutz, attorney for the petitioners. In 2021, this is something that's been a long process here, and hopefully we can get this thing done for them.
Yes, Commissioner Height.
Yes, sir.
Jim Russ, I represent the property owner, and I just wanna say something, Debbie Gagne, I was worked for the county for 28 years out there working with Debbie. She was a great county employee. They
Excellent.
don't make them like that anymore, with all due
Right.
respect, and as well. Being that, that being said, it's been pending a long time, and, I talked to, last time Commissioner wanted me to run this by, your clerk, and I did, and she said maybe, since you were not here at the time when this all started, if you wanted some information about it, I will let you know. All I want is a decision. There's another attorney on the other side, so I'm not, Attorney Keating, who argued against it, and so all that is pending. But the, hang-up originally was with the village, the Hubbard Township, who did not approve it or, disapprove it. They just said they wanted the existing easement, that is, be protected, because there's an old utility easement, above ground electrical easement that passes that in Ohio Revised Code 5553.042, says in the vacation of alleyway, all existing easements remain, so that is protected. So I just would like a decision either way, and that's all I ask. So I appreciate the, Commissioner's attention. Have any questions, Commissioner, just let me know. All the documents have been submitted and resubmitted, and you can.
There's a public hearing as well that you could.
Yeah, we already had the public hearing. Attorney Dan's already spoken to Bill numerous times about it, and we wanna get this thing rolling either way, so, appreciate it, thank you.
Is there a reason why this, like, drug on from 21 Morrow? What's the,
I mean, just the board never made a decision, to proceed. There was, there was some opposition at first, yeah. Although Hubbard Township didn't really take a stance in it at all, but there was opposition, at the
the
public
trustees
hearing.
didn't feed in on this, or they didn't pipe in on their opinion?
Like he said, they just worried about the easement, but there were, property owners that were opposed.
And just so the Commissioner, if I may, the, Hubbard Township trustees did do their job, and they did respond. And they said they can't approve it or disapprove it because we need to protect the easement. And what I'm arguing was, like, statute,
It's already
it is
protected.
protected, so. I want you to make sure that their trustees did respond. Yes, ma'am.
Julie Green, I just had a question, because we've done the vacations in the past, and it's my understanding that our prosecutor stated that unless the commissioners have a resolution of support, the commissioners cannot move forward with the road.
I don't think that's accurate. You need to talk with Bill.
That's who I got it from.
When was that?
Maybe a year and a half ago.
Well, if that's the case, can we definitely shore that up, because we're gonna need to know that, because we don't
I
have
think
that.
that was shored up and information was presented to the board that time. But I will
This
double
was
check with Bill.
before that.
Yeah, we'll double check with.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it to the commissioner's attention, that's all. I can call Bill, it's not a big deal.
You do that, Julie, then call me,
Yeah, I
and
will.
I'll reach out to Hubbard Township trustees and-
Yeah, no problem.
and see,
But every other vacation that we've been involved in or commented on, that was the prerequisite.
okay. All right, that concludes all the agenda items, for today. Do you have anyone from the public with, anything for the good of Trumbull County? Yes, sir, Bill Hart.
Bill Hearn, Trumbull County Maintenance. I just informed Julie that Mike Sawinski has the, commercial bathrooms for the fairgrounds at Bill's desk for approval for advertising for the construction of the bathrooms.
Fantastic.
I have sent for grading for the RFQs for the doggone new building. So once I get those back, we could select the architect and move on with that building.
Okay. Any more word from Mike or anything on the engineer's building, on where that stands?
It should be coming back from the advertisement shortly for it.
But
I don't know the date.
any more word with the prosecutor as far as
No,
how it would be graded this time?
I have not heard anything.
Okay, we need to meet with that. Diane?
Jacobic, Senior Levy Administrator. I have two items. The first one, I have four members that have expired terms. 3 of those 4 have reapplied and submitted their resumes. of those three, I would hope you would appoint all three of them. They've been wonderful committee members, very active. They don't just come to meetings, they do things behind the meetings, they do their work. Very helpful. And one of the members voiced his decision to resign. I told him he needed to send a letter of resignation to you, and I don't believe he's done that. Our bylaws say if he misses 2 meetings in a row, then we can have him removed. And if he doesn't send that letter, then we'll wait to see if the bylaw, allows us to have him removed. And a 6th member has been pretty ill. So, in continuity of what this council currently does, to at least reappoint those 3 members would be helpful.
Are we
I don't wanna
past
have 6 new people
Are we past
during a
the
levy year.
deadline date for the posting?
Oh, yes, that was, they were all due December 23rd.
Do we have copies
believe you
of the
have-
applicants?
She has folders for us, she's
Okay.
gonna give to us.
I
Okay,
sent
yeah, I
you-
haven't seen those yet. I want to see those before we
We haven't
do anything with it, right?
That's the thing.
I sent you the blank ranking tool and my ranking tool of those 3 members that have requested to renew. So you have that information, I hope, in your folders, and you can get that on the agenda maybe for next week.
Yeah, if we have the applicants to look through, I have no problem for next week, and we can discuss it in next week's public meeting as far as, who they would be or whatever, who the candidates would be. Did you get my email today regarding that?
Yeah.
Is that something you're able to handle, or is that something you're on?
I knew that was coming, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I figured you would. It was a grant, thing, just so
That's
public
my
to know,
second.
follow up.
Item here, the Ohio Healthy Aging Grant that we were awarded, almost $800,000. I'm still waiting for how to proceed with this. I'm getting very frustrated. My question was, because this is tied to ARP funds, and in that grant request, it says that we are to follow ARP guidelines. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not in legal. I've reached out to Bill Danzo, I've reached out to Jim Masaki, I have it from the state. Nobody's giving me guidance on how to proceed. So I have not released this to the public. I've reached out to what the other area counties have done. Columbiana County is just awarding it. They don't have a procurement policy of a bid process, they're just awarding it. Stark County is using the same as what our planning commission uses with their CBDG grants, where they're using their, planning commission to just award, based on letters of, what's the right word?
Request for answer,
Request for answer.
nonprofit.
That's how I wanted to proceed,
How
with
you
the same
should
way
do
the
it.
planning commission does, but now I'm being told
Told
you
by
have to
who?
do a bid process, you have to follow ARP guidelines. I'm asking for ARP guidelines to proceed.
Who has said that, Bill Danza?
Danzo has approved that RFA,
A.
I keep calling it RFQ, RFP, RFA process,
Okay.
but I need to know what the ARP guidelines are in order to proceed. I don't know ARP guidelines.
But there's only, Julie Green, there's only 2 sections that speak to competitive bidding, and I don't believe nonprofits are not even mentioned in there, are they? I don't believe that I would just make sure that those forms are included in the document and have the recipient sign off. The whole purpose for the state giving the county this money is to benefit senior citizens, and you have to have it spent by, September? You don't have time for this. So, I gave her my templates, and if somebody has a better idea or a better solution,
And our
I
commissioner,
would
or
like to hear it, but I don't believe there is one.
our prosecutors approved the RFA.
Then I would just go with it. I mean, you wanna get this money out there as fast as possible and spend it as fast as possible. And there's lots of need.
I'd like you're okay to proceed,
You're okay by me to proceed, as long as Danza's okay.
except that we don't have.
Oh,
the
no,
answer for
all I'm telling you is that Tanya will not, Ms. Rogers will not give you an opinion because it's not
Well, it's not,
county
ARP
ARPA money, it's
right.
state. We are actually a sub-recipient. When we go through a lot of our grants, we have these 8- and 9-page agreements which we have to attach. Those are what sub-recipients must do.
I'd have to think that,
And one of the things they do is that we make them comply with our uniform guidance. And that's all I was, now, it's an interesting question. 'cause we say, you know, we want open competition as part of ours. And you wanna make sure that says here, equal, protection for everyone, you know, that's all. And then the other thing would be, is that, under this one says, contract may be awarded without competitive bidding with the express written authorization of the federal agency or state pass-through agency that awarded the federal funds, so long as awarding the contract without competition is consistent with state law. And under 30786,
He's reading from the grant agreement?
this is from ours.
No,
This is our
your grant
uniform
agreement.
guidelines.
Our guidelines just say that we need to follow ARP guidelines.
Now,
Yeah,
It's like
so
a
what-
one-sentence thing, so
So
what is
in
that?
conversations with Diane, 'cause I'm not giving you official legal advice, I'm
Right.
just giving you general advice on the ARPA and things. 30786, which the state did reference to you, or you,
And the state says, whatever your local procurement policies are.
well, that's the one that says that 30786,
Right.
under the state law, says if it's a nonprofit agency, you don't necessarily, if you're receiving
Right.
state, federal grant
It's
money,
exempt.
you don't have to go
And
out
as soon
for
as I threw the
competitive
word
bidding.
in nonprofit in there, then they pointed it back to ARP. Is that allowed within our ARP? That's why I keep getting circled. Nobody-
Who said
That came from Bill Danzo, Jason
Well,
Toth.
yeah,
you
and
know,
that's all we're trying to say is that the commissioners would have to make a decision,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's all.
and I can tell you it's been done before, Julie Green, when,
And not to interrupt you, but you're saying other agencies have given
Stark
it to
County
other,
is doing it
and Mahoning County is
the
giving
way
it.
that we were going to try to do it. Columbiana County is just the commissioners are throwing the money out there. Mahoning County gave it to Direction Home of Eastern Ohio to administer as a subrecipient.
I mean, you have arguments if
So
you,
my
if
question
you do
is,
it with
I
some
can
type of.
proceed with the RFA,
Yeah.
which keeps our money here, we make the decisions. We can give it to Direction Home and let them decide how to spend it. Or I sit and wait.
Well, if you wait, you're not gonna
No,
be
I
able
don't
to.
wanna
Your
wait.
caveat is if you gave it to the Direction Home, you'd have to pay them a fee.
They probably would keep 10% of it for the administration fee, which is allowed.
When you're posing that question to Bill Danzo or to Jason Toth, what are they saying? When you say those three scenarios, what should I do? What are they,
Get the ARP question answered.
but we,
That's where
They
it
just
goes
answer.
back.
but they're not, you can't get that ARP
I
question.
can't get that ARP question
She's not here,
answered
she's not,
because she will not.
she won't answer that.
Yeah, Julie
Do we have
Green.
to go out and get a separate attorney to give us that answer?
I don't think you have time for that.
Well, that's,
I don't.
but
Yeah.
I'm just,
I'm just saying,
Playing
let's go
devil's
forward
advocate.
and let's get
I am
banged if
too.
we need to later.
I am too.
Money is spent, money's gone,
I-
and
I
ad
think-
indifferent, I don't care.
I think we are the sub-recipient of this money already through ARP.
You've
So
already
for them to
seen it.
give it to us,
Yeah.
we already met the
Department of
standards
Development.
for us to get the grant.
This grant.
And it would be like us giving the money we give to United Way. We're not
Right.
following up with United Way to
Right.
see where they're giving the money out, if it's in cooperation with our part of the standards. We already qualified to get the money,
We will.
we spend the money.
Yeah.
We will. No.
next
That,
Well-
that is part of our agreement, that
You know,
they send us a report.
You've already been awarded and spent over $700,000 in ARP through the
Right.
state,
Mhm.
because I spent the money. The original one was ESG grant.
Okay.
All the state did was pick up a phone and said, will you please do this and sub it out to, Coleman. That was at the beginning of the pandemic, and that was done. Then we got another $600,000 grant that we finished last year, that was ARP funded through the state of Ohio. And we never had any of these issues. If you wanna have a public hearing or a public meeting to ask for people's opinions, I mean, that's part of the process that we followed because we're required to. If you're not required to, if your grant agreement says you don't have to, I would just send the RFAs out, give the money away. That's why the state is doing it. They wanna
Right.
get this money spent by the deadline.
Yeah, I think we're looking too deep in the.
Yeah, we don't wanna lose sight of the actual goal here,
I have
that's
to
getting the money
say-
out.
I don't think there's any senior police that are gonna come and take Diana away because she gave money to
No.
a
No.
senior
I have
cause
to say, Julie
nonprofit.
has been so helpful in just saying, go through, just do it. Just do it.
Well, you are
And
following
she
that,
has,
you are
Well,
following.
and really,
No, but
She has
you're not
such
gonna be doing
experience.
it. You're gonna be doing it, we're gonna be voting to
Right.
do it, so it's on us.
You are
just give us the
following-
recommendation where you want it to go,
You are following a process.
then it falls on us.
You are following a process.
It's just
In-
unique,
In your defense,
yeah.
you are following a process.
And it's unique. It's
Yeah.
never
Let's
been done
proceed.
before.
Let's proceed.
one more comment. In
Thank
this
you.
current state of leadership, it is so frustrating. I'm a department of one, I don't have support. I reach out to Julie, sorry.
It's okay, you had a rough year.
Yeah. Thank you, Julie.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Auditor's Office. They've been tremendous at
You
the whole
navigate
transportation grant, you know, lining it up correctly. But this current leadership, you're afraid to move forward because of
stuff. Stupid.
attack. And I can't let it roll. I'm trying. Some days I can, not this month. Been a rough month. Sorry.
Martha,
I don't
you're
mean
the
to-
Trumbull County Auditor. I just wanna say, you guys aren't elected. Those of us that are elected, it's much easier for us to say, let it roll, because we signed up to do that. And even though you're public employees, that doesn't mean you're public employees. And I share your frustration, but stick with us, and as I tell every single person, it only takes two.
HR has been terrific too.
Oh,
In all of this.
absolutely. Ignore the one.
Great hiring there.
I know it's,
Great election here.
I know it's
Julie.
easier said than done, but ignore it. I tell every single person that comes in my office, it just takes two. Don't worry about the one.
And if I could, I would like to just piggyback off that, and what you said earlier, Julie. I'm not here to say it's easy when you're an elected official. It's actually not, but, you know, she did hit on something that's very important. We take pride in being department heads. We take pride in our people, our jobs, our staff. That's what we were hired here and put here to do. I think that what Julie and what Diane are saying, and it's something that I struggle with, obviously every week you guys see this, is defending that for all of you. And what I mean by defending is, it's not personal, but what is personal is that we're public figures. And when we put out there, when we have people putting out that there's something nefarious going on in our department, or that there's something, you know, contrary to revised code, or whatever you wanna call it, you know, there's been so many examples, I don't even wanna go down that path, but that hurts our public figure. It doesn't hurt us personally, it hurts our public figure, it hurts Trumbull County. It hurts what we're doing and where we're going. And that's what I think, just hang on, because the truth always
3 years,
prevails.
11 months, 2 days.
How many years?
3 years, 11 months.
And know your own worth.
I have less than 5.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking us
I'll
on
move
in the
forward.
first place, 'cause this was something, when the grant came out,
Yeah.
there's some counties that don't have senior levy services like this to even handle this. And it just was the commissioner's office or the clerk handling it. By you handling it, it takes the pressure off of us somewhat, and we know it's gonna go probably to better causes than we would indiscriminately pick, so.
And I have a great 11-member board who will review these and then make recommendations
Right, and that's what we rely
I will
on
release
in-
this
for this
here.
situation.
today, or tomorrow.
And then something more for 2024, if I could, something that I think we should work on collectively is trust. Let's get that trust back with one another. You know, communication, trust. I think we're doing a really good job of making strides to do that. Don't let 1 or 2 or 3 get in the way of that. Well, we're together. We're in this together. And I mean, I know it sounds super corny, but it's the truth. Look at all of us here right now. Don't trust yourself, know your worth, and keep moving forward.
And I've said that from day one too, as long as my heart's still beating and Mara's heart's still beating, you got a majority of the board backing you up on stuff. I get hit by a car tomorrow or something, or a train, all bets are off, but like she said, you got a team here that'll pick up the slack, I'm sure.
Straight arrow.
Yeah.
Straight arrow, yeah.
Well, please don't. get
Please
sick.
don't say
No.
that.
Trust me,
Okay, he's
I'm-
at the top of my
Extra
list
caution.
every
This is
morning.
a hundred.
We'll get you some
Oh,
I was gonna.
vitamin C. You want cookies?
No, thank you.
We're trying to
Very
keep you healthy.
I know.
Don't leave me down.
Okay, we're at
Stop
the,
it.
What are you talking about, John?
the ARPA,
I know.
yeah, you, start taking some
Yeah.
vitamin C or something.
Yes.
We're gonna wheel you into these meetings one of these days.
Speaking of that, I am gonna step out for a glass of water, is that okay?
Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck with retirement, I'm so jealous.
Congratulations.
Thank you,
Thank you for your service.
All those
Pass that back to me.
Me too, I just got it.
Oh.
Oh, Marilyn? Oh, Marilyn Page?
I was really good.
Yeah. You're welcome. It's a hard time of year.
anything up? Are you reporting anything up? No bad news?
Yeah, give him a call.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
You need it.
I'm just asking you,
Chairman, while
here,
we're waiting.
like, please, no bad news?
I have another resolution next week, because we have another employee retiring.
Okay.
But next
Her
week, in the meeting,
and Ben's
for that one, could we put it at the beginning of the meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah, and any of these we should put at the beginning of
Well,
the meeting.
and that was fine either way.
But you know what, this time of year,
But,
See, what we've done usually is we've done it at the beginning, we got the picture, but then we vote on the resolution later in it, but it's kinda
Lori,
getting the cart before the horse
right.
because of the minutes and the approving the minutes and all that.
I put for
something I'm very passionate about.
Did you have a nice Christmas?
That's it.
Yes, Brenda.
I'm sorry, Councilman.
Relax.
You know,
I have to,
While you were working.
Deb,
You were here,
Oh, yeah.
but,
budget
yeah.
amendment.
And it's proven.
That transportation, just that one where to break it all up, to agree to whatever the invoice is gonna be here at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I have to submit my invoice to.
Your mom, you think she's gonna transition over to,
To,
if you wanna talk about it,
And I've asked
I have a
them,
lot
yep,
of
set up
confidence in
payment
her.
account.
I'll wait until we
For
get
the extension,
They just
I know, I
raised it.
or they can allow me to use it.
Yes.
I know for the 2025,
Is it over
when we get that
Oh,
award,
yeah.
I will set up a payment account so that we can.
Especially when they cut back on staff.
That's what I mean.
It's not $300,000? Oh, your extension, I know that one, yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Other than, right, I thought that was the way they would
I
answer.
did an article about, from the Cleveland.com about with, Mike with the,
Yeah.
and a lot of
Or for January
He
25.
wasn't here for that.
We may have enough funding to get us through January. Get it out of 19 on that.
Number 24.
Jenny, is that a new ride in this parking lot I saw?
That's broken out of the stores, you know. I drive it like 3,000 miles a year, that's about it.
Oh, you got into your storage unit?
And I did, that one, different one, just the car one.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Diane,
What do we?
while we're still here with this thing, this is the package for senior services. Are we missing some?
Are we done?
I should have 5.
Cause I got.
I talked to Christina yesterday, she said they would be 5.
imagine this is something that they pay for that we have to reimburse them.
2, 3,
No, no.
Okay.
Karen's there, 4. Let's see,
I
I got one,
comment.
I got one from a Wolfter,
Like that
it was
case
mailed to
That
me,
myself on that.
Bob Wolfter, Portland.
They wouldn't let you wait, it was mailed to you.
I do remember Bob Wolfter.
It came to all of us, she gave it to us about a month ago.
Dana, and remind
Bob
me.
Wolfter put in,
Yeah.
And then my comment should be in there,
And I
I'm
leave it here
and I go
I'll
to.
take
Road,
Let me take it back to her.
you know,
Yeah.
Packet.
Yeah, if you could, just tell her there's a Wolfter, and there was one other one too that had called that was sending in. It was a girl from Mecca.
Talking about.
but it's
Somebody
nowhere on there
Portland.
either.
What's the name?
So I don't know whether I should
No, this is,
just pay these
the
or
girl
what.
from Mecca.
Did she send it in?
She told me she was.
Did she?
I got it from her. She was.
Kristen?
Yeah, yeah.
So the only thing she was worried about was
I didn't.
when the meetings were, she said that she, because of course during the day she teaches school.
Oh.
And she said, do they ever have meetings at night? Would they be open to that? Would they be, so that may be a hang up with her.
That means I'm working some evenings? No.
A month.
January, yeah.
Unless I can come in and the next day at noon.
Multivitamins,
You're the boss, you can make that schedule whoever you want.
I remember.
Way over there.
Time, Diane.
It's not a preventative.
You'll be all right.
Can't hurt.
No.
Like chicken.
Weakened female crying.
Right.
Not weak.
It's okay.
Lost your
It's
mind.
okay.
Well, that's why women live longer.
Probably.
Said who?
Women live longer than men because we cry.
Really?
Okay, well,
Dang, I'm gonna live a lot longer than that's the case.
before we started here in the meeting, after our little brief timeout, do we know, I thought Jack Simon was here and he left, do you know what he wanted?
I have no idea.
He just came to say hi and show
He was just in the
Bluebeard.
building and.
He could have been, I don't know, he came and he sat down and
Yeah.
talked to Casey, I thought he was gonna come back in, but Okay, Martha Yoder, you're up with, ARPA update.
And a couple other things, but, one other thing, but the ARPA first. So, just a quick one, because we don't really have a whole lot. I do have some questions for you in response to what you'd asked me to do last time. But, starting with number one, we have had no new approvals, since the last update from, Attorney Rogers. I know you reached out, correct, to her today, but have not gotten a response. We're still awaiting, again, from Attorney Rogers, resolutions and agreements for Downbeat Musical Arts. The city of Cortland, that's the generators for the water supply. The land bank agreement and resolution for the Ween building, and the land bank agreement and resolution, that, we talked about with up to $2 million for the further demolitions, and that would be invoiced quarterly. We sent her all that information. We're also, awaiting clarification as to the final $50,000 of the $228,030.70 for community family outreach. She had given us approval on, 178, but there was a $50,000 flooring part that she was asking questions of Migliosi.
Yeah, Mr.
Oh,
Migliosi.
because they were working with the health department on that request. For the last workshop, I adjusted the Warren Civic Music request to 15.
Well, let's finish up before we get to number 3. Where are we with 2? I thought we had the Downbeat Music, I thought
We need resolutions and agreements. So
So Tanya
we
needs to
have
write those,
Yes,
or-
yeah, that's what we're
Okay.
waiting on, and she has that, we just haven't gotten it.
So she approved them, but she
Right,
didn't do the
But
resolution
we have
for
to,
it yet.
she writes, that's part of her job, is she writes those resolutions
Yeah,
and
we need to
agreements
get her
that you-
on this stuff, because we got so many
Well,
pending
and
ones, and we
we-
can't go 4 weeks with an approval.
We've been
till it gets
doing our
set up.
best with
I know.
following up, it's kinda out of our hands,
I
so,
understand.
all right,
Just need to stress to her that
yeah.
if
And
she's
I-
gonna approve them, approve it, and then let's get these things written up, start on it.
Again,
ASAP.
Mr. Masaki reached out again today and has been reaching out, so I can only do what I can do. Per the last workshop, I did email Bristol Township, Mesco, and Vernon Township. If you recall, these were the ones where we had frozen the amount, but because the original request had been denied. And we wanted to, you guys are willing to substitute requests for those denied requests. Both Bristol and Vernon intend to submit different requests, but they wanna know if you have a deadline, if you guys were talking about that. I don't really have a recommended deadline. Remember, it is taking time to get through these approvals. So I don't know what you wanna do, if you wanna give them, March 1st or February 1st or something to get these back to us. I'm fine with that. I think giving a deadline probably light the fire under people. I will tell you, both of them have specific things in mind, and they already have some.
I'd be okay with all the way to like June 30th. I mean, because
And
they're in the back of the pack anyway, and there's
Okay.
so many more to need done.
Right,
I also spoke to Bristol Township, about their building that was denied,
right.
and
That's-
they're gonna try to submit something else.
That's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
okay, I didn't know,
Yeah,
I didn't
that
know
was-
You
The
talked to
Bristol-
Mr. Chicolo?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, Mr.
Okay, 'cause
Piccolo,
he had called
right,
me.
Just saw him yesterday.
I've
Okay,
yeah,
good.
and he has something in mind,
Okay.
and he has some documentation, he just doesn't have the request together. And
'Cause he
Vernon,
asked me if it's too late, I said, you better get your request in now, though.
well,
If
that
it's
was,
something that's-
yeah, no, and we
feasible.
talked, I spoke to him, and I explained.
I'm just trying to move them, everybody
That's
along,
fine.
you know.
Do we wanna, okay. April 1st,
I'm fine with that. I mean,
it gives them
plenty of
time. And both of these
May
have
1st?
requested.
Let's do May 1st, just because I'd rather
That's
them
fine.
detail and do the research first
Okay.
before they submit
Right.
it, than just hurry up and
Right.
rush and throw it on there.
Okay. And I will say both of them do that. Now, MESPO is a little different, and that's, that they actually would like to reword the original request and would like to resubmit the original one reworded.
Okay.
I have no problem, but I would say it already went to Tanya, and if Tanya, if there's been communication to reword it and
There's
get a
not
feel
been,
from Tanya
because
that it could be,
Sharon Grover is handling this for MESPO. Sharon Grover is she did not get any communication at all from Tanya before the request was denied. She, however, recognizes that within that request, it was worded in a way that probably didn't help them. And it was worded in a way where it was a remodel, of the town hall, where they really look at it as more of a restoration. And actually the quotes that they have reflect that it's more of a historical, like a historical preservation. And she feels like she can reword it to a place where it's understandable that it is a preservation rather than a remodel.
Yeah, I have no
Julie.
problem with that, though.
No.
Julie Green, is that an option to, be able to have that preliminary feedback? I mean, it
Well,
seems
she
like it's
does,
a
and I
waste
will
of
say,
time.
a lot of,
No, not an
the,
option?
No, Tanya has to
Tanya does,
ask a lot of questions.
Tanya
She
does
does.
ask questions,
Which is-
but,
Good.
but
Which is a good
she,
thing.
Yeah.
and she
does.
generally does a very good job on that, and I think that's part of why sometimes some of the requests take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But I think on this one, it was worded in such a way that she didn't ask those questions. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I'm fine with doing this if you guys are fine with me telling. So I will say yes to that. That brings me to another call that I received, that we received actually, from Julia Shutt, with the Leavittsburg Train Gallery. This was not frozen funds. These are funds that were denied and we took them off this list. $182,100, and it was denied, and she has had contact with Attorney Rogers, correct?
Mhm.
I'm correct on that. And they want to resubmit the request rewritten. And I wanna know, do you accept us to do that, for me to accept that, and to put it on the yes spreadsheet, or maybe the maybe spreadsheet at this point?
Rewritten, but not a new project, just as.
It's rewritten, and it was on the yes, it's now on the yes in red, but zeroed out.
Well, how about if it might be more prudent if they saw the request and change in the project here to the commissioners, submit it,
Mhm.
and then the commissioners can decide.
Would you like me to ask her to just come in to next week's workshop?
That'd be great.
All right, I'll be glad to do that.
I mean, it's a good project, I supported it from the beginning, and I still continue to support it. But if she thinks it can be,
She's very active, and, yeah, she does work very hard for her community. She's doing
Julie's-
all this as
Julie's great.
voluntary, yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then
She is good.
finally, what I've done is I just did, both of, you have in your packet, you have the updated yes sheet, and the only real update on this was to remove, animal welfare and put it on the allocated sheet, because we actually passed that, and also reduce the, request for foreign civic music to 15, because on here it was at 25. And then I just kinda did the abbreviated bottom line the same way I did last time. The only real change in the available funds is that there's 10,000 more than there was last time, because we reduced that request by 10,000. So that's it on that. The only other thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is, dog licenses, and just kinda give you a little bit of, I didn't do a written report, but I just wanna, update you guys a little bit. So we mailed out, over 10,000 renewal letters at the end of November, for the beginning of December to start dog license season. In December, we sold more than 3,200 licenses. And I'm going to be doing, remember I said I'm gonna do the drawing?
Mhm.
I'd like to do that next week. And would you like it in the, workshop, or would you like me to do it in the meeting, have one of you guys draw?
workshop.
Okay. We'll have that ready for you next week. I also want to, workshop. Give you also a little bit of I wanna also ask, remind you, we're gonna do another drawing for January. In February, we'll do the same thing. The deadline for dog licenses legally, statutorily, is January 31st. But we do have an option to extend it. I would like for you guys to do that. I'll do a resolution for you to that effect. I kinda wanted to see where it was done in the past, but we could put it on next week, so if you're okay with that. If you wanna look it up. I did talk to our license clerk. She said a lot of times it was sort of done at the last minute. So I'm fine with doing it next week if you guys are. and that way we can advertise it, that people will have that extra month, and make sure people know that they do, because we wanna get, again, compliance is our goal on this, and if we, extending it a month, we can do that. And then we'll do another drawing for February as well for the free dog license for 25. I did wanna also just note something, one of the things that we did this year, a little bit differently on our dog license applications, although it wasn't as prominent as we'd like it to be, it has been effective, the donation line. Just to give you an idea of where we're at, last year, in total donations that we received, monetary donations in December that we received was $2,803, or I'm sorry, last year, 22. All right, $2,803. December of 23, we received $7,396.25. So adding that donation line was effective. And actually, we received, because of the donation line with our dog license applications, $2,780.25.
So what do we do with that after you get it? Where does that go?
That goes directly to the dog pound. It helps finance the dog pound. So it's extra for the dog.
That's wonderful.
And so anything we get.
Basically to the fund, to the dog license fund, right?
Right.
Same fund, or?
Yes, it's a different number, but
Okay.
it goes for operations for the dog pound. It's to help them out. And that's not including things like Voices that
Yeah.
receives donations also, and we help promote that, and also any physical donations that people have brought in as well. So I think, our PR campaign, for lack of a better word, has been effective. I think adding the donation line, anything that we can do to bring in more revenue for that dog pound is helpful, so.
And I'll tell you, Commissioner Cantalasa and myself both attended the Voices Gala at Salvador.
Salvatore's.
And a great event, unbelievable. The basket raffle they had was the best basket raffle I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've done fundraising professionally for a living for 25 years, and it was unbelievable, the dedication those volunteers have in making that thing a nice event. They raised good money, the people there were fantastic, and I'm proud that we have groups like that are out there to work in partnership with. And there didn't seem to be any divide between government and private and nonprofit,
Well, and
and
that's exactly it.
everyone was there for the right reason.
We're all working together for the dogs, and I've worked with them, and we'll have our little raffle, that kind of, for lack of a better word, raffle. Anybody gets entered into that just by making a donation. The baskets that I brought in and showed, they're still up in my office waiting, and that will happen in March. We'll have you guys help us with that drawing as well in March.
And that's, we gotta stress, and people see all those commercials, I watched football this weekend, and every other commercial was,
Oh, I saw it too.
national commercial, send your money, the ASPCA. That money does not come back here. If you're gonna donate, see that commercial, let it tear at your heartstrings, and make a donation to Healthy Hearts and Paws, or make a donation to
Animal Welfare League.
Animal Welfare League or somebody. Give that check personally, even if it's $10, $15, $20, but don't go online and support
We have
the National Humane Society or ASPCA.
We have several great locations, Healthy Hearts and Paws, several great organizations locally that are doing a lot.
Angels for Animals.
Angels for Animals. I also, just since we're talking about it, I'm not one of those people that gets all Nazi-like about adopt and don't shop, but please adopt, don't shop. We have tons of animals, we have tons of dogs that are waiting, and it kills me because I have an elderly dog and, two of my cats are elderly, plus I have two other kids. I can't do another animal, but every time I look at it, I want to. So if you don't have an animal,
What's one more?
oh. I feel guilty enough that I don't spend enough time with the ones I have, but yeah, if you're looking for an animal, this is a great time to look for it and look at our dog kennel, because we've got some cute little puppies waiting for you.
Aw.
Okay, anybody else have anything?
Just real quick,
It's okay, you're fine.
I just wanted to ask you, do you want me to move both Debbie's more towards the beginning of the
Can you
agenda?
do that?
I can.
Let's do that, just in case, 'cause
Okay.
tomorrow,
I mean, I can put them,
maybe
make them 3 and
contentious with some of
4,
the
so
things.
they're,
Yeah.
okay, I'll do
Let's
that.
do that.
And I'll let Deb know that. It's gonna be
And, Alex, one thing I wanted to bring up too, and while Commissioner Cantalasa is here, we spoke to the owner of the lot behind the, maintenance building off of Hartman, the traditional lot there, the guy that bought the funeral home. He's gonna turn it into an antique store. He wants to work a deal with us for a 5-year lease on the square, basically the square closest to Harmon. And he said, you know, we can do whatever we want, we can take the poles out, we can take the divider strip out, we can line it, stripe it, however we want. I told him what the price was across the street that was offered to us, and he threw a price out at me initially. I was in Alex's office when we did it, and he sounds negotiable. We just have to figure out who takes the lead on this to negotiate a price and negotiate a lease, but I think I'd like to do that for the benefit of the employees there.
I'm fine with that, Mr. President. I'd like to. Or at least bring it back to the board, you know, and,
Yeah.
you know, keep us abreast of it, you know.
But one of us or two of us, or maybe Martha and myself, trying to negotiate with this guy on a price to figure out where and how and when, but he's opened a 5-year deal, with no strings attached, where, he'll handle insurance and all the stuff that he's gotta do on his end. Of course, we'll have to do what we have to do here, but, he had talked about coming up possibly with a gate, with a token system, and he had mentioned the prices they're getting in Pittsburgh and other areas, and he said he researched it and realized that's not gonna work here. So he said, well, his next best option then is to get us to do it, because he knows he won't make any money on his own. He did try to lease out on his own at $50 a spot per month, and he only got 2 or 3 biters on that. So there's a price lower than that, I'm sure, that's workable for both of us, if he's willing to do it.
Like a
Yeah, but then you still gotta have the maintenance of it, you just, as you know.
so old school, that's 1980.
Right.
There's
Right.
probably an app for it nowadays.
Uh-huh.
But you know,
Yeah,
even the
like-
lot where you guys park over there, they
QR
used to have the arm there,
Right.
I mean, people just aren't gonna get rich on parking lots here in Warren, not with something like that.
No.
So, I guess we'll continue the talks then with him. We said we'd meet with him after the first of the year, and, great gentleman. He's got a long history in Trumbull County and a long history of knowledge of the downtown area,
Oh, yeah.
and super big in with the Kinsman House and
Yep.
stuff, so.
He is the Kinsman
He is
House.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just wants to make sure that,
We ran that.
the area's taken care of, and even with his shop that he has there, he's trying to bring something to bring people downtown, so he's workable. And I'd like to hopefully strike a deal with this gentleman. Okay, so I'll do that. Anybody got anything else?
I just wanna clarify, so I stepped out yesterday just to grab that, draft of the purchasing and procurement policy. I re-listened last night to make sure of what I missed. It's my understanding that you guys wanna maybe look at it next week. Only thing I'm asking is I just sent it to the prosecutors for their initial review, and then also if you have comments or concerns, I guess just please email me so I can incorporate those before it becomes a huge debacle next week. So I just wanna, you know what I mean, like, my concern is I'm gonna be getting red lines from 1, 2, 3,
Right.
and a prosecutor. So that's 4 people that I have to take comments back from, which is not a problem, allow me the time to do that, please, and thank you.
All right, now, the prosecutor yesterday, from what I understand, shot down moving the 50 to 75 that we did. He'd rather keep it at 50, so we need to retract that. We need to go back. Where we stand with that?
Lisa, what was the case with that?
Two different things.
It is
It is two different
I
things,
had
yeah.
asked him last week if I needed to make that 75, and he told me, no, you need to keep that at 50.
They're, just for
They are two
The one
different
was
things.
for the
So, one is for
micro-purchase.
quality-based
Right.
selection
Yeah.
process, the other is for competitive bidding
Bidding,
for
right.
construction projects. They're two separate things.
But they used to be
completely.
both at 50,000, for what
Correct.
it's
Correct.
worth.
But they're
So-
still under, I believe, 2 different parts of the higher revised code. I don't know them off the top of my head, my knowledge of quality-based selection process is not the same thing as competitive
Right.
bidding for construction.
Well, this purchasing, and procurement manual addresses it all. So I guess what I'm saying is, since I just shot it over to the prosecutor's office yesterday, what I would suggest is, you guys do whatever you want, you're the board, but wait and see what, Bill comes back with, red lines on the entire, because it's 60 pages that encompasses competitive bidding, goods and services, if it's a state purchase, if it's exempt, if it's not exempt, so it captures all of that.
Did you send that to us?
Yes, yesterday, yep,
Federal, we have federal purchase.
yep, federal purchases, so it was
Does it
all.
go over our procurement policies?
Yes,
All, everything?
yeah, yep,
So I guess if we adopt that, when we get to that point after the draft is done, that makes all this other stuff kind of a moot point.
that's kind of what I was trying to say yesterday, but I didn't wanna interject too
Right.
much, cause it's not my.
So let's just leave it as we did yesterday, and then when we
And then
adopt the new
see
one.
where, right, because this is
Right.
an overarching policy and procedure, which would encompass everything, to
Well,
your, you know what I mean? So if,
That's an ad, though, that needs to go in.
okay,
Mine is, I mean, the one that we were talking about earlier. So I don't know.
well, they were hoping to
Whether
get
I'm
this done
supposed
next
to-
week,
Okay.
so, I mean, I don't know if Bill, I keep checking, Bill's not like, yeah, I can definitely get it done by next week. You know what I mean, like,
Okay.
I'm kinda at the mercy of,
Julie Green, one question. Is there an if grant funding that has more stringent requirements, then you defer to the grant funding sort of language in there?
I don't know, but
Because our
I'll
grant
check.
funding is, we have so many compliance
That's a good
issues
question.
associated with the grants we administer,
Oh.
and that's just a small portion of, what the other county agencies
Correct,
have,
'cause
like-
JFS is the same way, so I understand, 'cause that's,
Yeah.
obviously where I come from, we
Right.
had, red tape is not even an answer,
Right.
it's beyond red tape.
Yeah.
But yes, I think we could add in there, that's a very good point, Julie, I mean, obviously if it's grant funding, I was looking at more of, we're going out to bid for specific construction projects, even incorporated change orders in this process, so what's above 10%, what's below 10%, how you handle that. So it was more of like an internal, I don't mean to say it like that,
No, that's okay.
but more for, and I hate to say it this way too, but more for people just underneath the commissioners, right? To help us all as department heads and be very clear. I think I talk about blanket purchase orders in there, just general, this is what you want to do and follow this guideline. But you're right, when it comes to specific nuances for grants specifically at state and federal level, I always defer to the people at JFS. They know the rules inside and out, and those are state and federally monitored.
Right.
So I would hope that,
Right.
they're held to, I don't wanna say they're held to a higher standard, but they really are every day.
Yeah, we are monitored by 3
Yes.
different entities on one grant, usually.
Oh, I believe it. So I could add a little caveat in there that it never hurts to add something in there, anything grant monies, make sure you're following your specific grant guidelines and stipulations and,
Or that those
or those that are
prevail.
dictated to you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, no problem.
So, for example, a good example is what Diane brought up today, is with the RFA.
Exactly.
That's very specific to CDBG and the Ohio Department of Development, and I'm sure Ohio Department of Aging as well, where those funds are specifically geared towards nonprofits.
And it dictates where it can and can't go, and yeah, absolutely, not a problem.
That's all I have, that's all I got.
Motion to adjourn? Second?
Mr. Cantala Mesa.
Yes.
Mr. Malloy.
Yes.
Ms. Frenchco.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Same to you.